So let's start our moving as we focus on our breath. You circle around on your hips. So moving forward to the side and back and around. As you breathe in and as you breathe out. Don't worry if your breath matches my cue. Meaning if you're exhaling when I say inhale, don't worry about it because eventually we'll match up. That's not as important at this moment as focusing on the act of breathing. So reverse your circle. And this is very helpful for feeling our seat, feeling our hips on the chair. We often are not aware of things like this. And so the yoga practice gives us the time to attune to the body. And let's come back to a neutral seat, nice long spine. Imagine that you have a string on top of your head and it's pulling you and you're getting taller and taller. Ed just asked me or said I was getting shorter, but I do the yoga so I can keep space in between the vertebrae and get taller and taller. Yes. So now on your inhale, take your arms up overhead. Beautiful. And then on your exhale, flow them back down. Inhale, arms rise up. And exhaling, floating the arms downward. Let's take them out to the side. Inhale, arms lifting. And it's always going to be your range of motion, not mine, in terms of how high they lift. Exhale, lowering your arms down. Inhale, they rise upwards. And exhale, spread your fingers, palms facing downward. Circle the shoulders up towards your ears, back, around, and down. Now this should feel really good. I was just having a discussion with somebody this morning who has a lot of pain going on in his legs, and I suggested therapeutic massage because that can be a nice way to release tension from the body. And what we're doing right now as we circle our shoulders should feel like a bit of a massage. Let's reverse the circle. So just reverse it. It feels a little like, oh, my brain, because you went the way that was most natural for you. When we started, you went either forward to back or back to forward, and now we're doing the opposite. So it feels a little different. And then come back to neutral. In the beginning of a yoga practice, we often do some joint freeing just to get the body going. And so I want you to pretend that you have a point, which you do, on the edge of your nose, on the tip of your nose, and draw a circle with it. So draw a circle with the tip of your nose, and your head may be going clockwise. And then you will reverse it. Now go nice and slow. Always gentle on the neck as we circle around and about. Come back to neutral. I'm mirroring you, so it doesn't really matter because we have two sides, right? It really doesn't matter. Let's drop our right ear down towards our right shoulder and let that stretch along the left side of the neck. You'll feel that. If it's too much, then please come out of the stretch. And then inhale, head rises up. And I like to use a finger just to help lift it up. But notice what you're feeling. And let's go to the other side. Lowering the left ear down towards the left shoulder and relax the shoulder. Let it relax. Be downward. You might even let your arms just kind of drape because the neck is stretching and the rest of the body is pretty neutral. Take a breath in and lift the head back up. Now take your hands behind your imaginary ponytails. My students love this. We push just gently. You're going to press your palms into the back of your neck and up your scalp, and it's like giving yourself a little bit of traction. So your elbows are bent and they're angling forward, and you're taking the skin and you're just massaging the back of your neck, feeling like your neck is getting longer. Just a nice little feeling to give yourself some traction, and then release that and bring your right arm forward, turn the palm upright, and then touch your shoulder. And then give yourself a little massage here. So you can press the finger pads of your on your hand into the top of your shoulder. And you might notice some hardness or some tension. So give it a little loving kindness. That feels good. And then release that. And let's lift the left arm forward, palm facing upward, and touch your shoulder. Now you may notice that this shoulder feels less tense or more tense because we tend to carry tension on one side more than the other. So just notice you might feel like the muscles are bigger on one side. That's a good thing to notice too. Just what's going on, getting to know your body if you give it a little loving touch. And we'll let that go. Now, let's take our hands to our knees or our thighs and we'll do cat pose. So if you haven't seen cat pose before, it's like you're making a round curve with your spine like an angry cat. So you're rounding your spine back and your chin is coming to your chest. You're going to feel your shoulder blades, they are separating. Then on the inhale, roll your shoulders up and back, and you'll see that your hips are moving back at the same time. So you're making a curve one way and then the other way, concave and convex. We're going to make this a wave now. Exhale, rounding one way, like the cat. Inhale, lifting into a teeny little back bend. Go back to the cat as you round the spine and feel the shoulder blades move apart. As you go towards the cow pose, your shoulder blades are coming in towards each other. One more time, round it, pulling the belly back towards the back of your body, towards your spine, and inhale, lift on up. And I'm gonna move back to facing towards you. Let's extend the right leg straight and long. You can hold on to the side of the chair, push your heel down, and then as you press the heel down, feel like you're pulling it towards you. That's going to help prevent you from locking your knee. And then go ahead and point the toe away. Ooh, I don't know if you heard that, but there was a snap, crackle, pop. And then pull the toes back in and press them away into the points. And then circle the ankle around and about. And pull the heel back in towards you. Now go ahead and lift the right toes up. You no need to look at them. Just tell them to lift up. It really doesn't matter whether you see it or not. And it doesn't matter whether they move or not. Your brain is telling your toes to move. And then exhale and lower the toes down. And inhale, lift the right toes again. And exhale, lower them down. One more time. Inhale, lifting the 5 toes on the right foot. Exhale, lowering them. Now, I want you to pretend that there's a credit card underneath, or a debit card underneath your foot. And you're going to push your toe pads down on the right foot into that card. I want you to imagine somebody's trying to pull that card away from your foot. They're going to go spend money. So you're pushing your toes down on that card so they can't get it. So that's your strong, strong foot. Notice what it feels like to push your toe pads down, and you might feel some activation in your arch area, and then let that go. Let that go. All right, other side. Stretch the left leg long. Press the heel down. You might see a little softening behind the knee and the kneecap may be lifting. And then point the toes away and lift them and flex them and point and flex and point and flex. Notice what feels different. When we point, you're feeling a lengthening across the front. And as you pull the toes in, you're feeling a lengthening across the back of the calf area. And then let's pull this heel back in and inhale and lift the left toes, no peeking. Exhale, lower them down. Inhale, they lift. Without looking at your toes, spread them. So there's space in between each of them. If you haven't used toe spacers, I highly recommend it. It's so good for our feet. And then exhale and lower down. You know, sometimes shoes mush toes and they need some space, and toes do have a lot to do with our balance, especially this big toe. Inhale, lift one more time. Exhale, lower it down. Now pretend that credit card or debit card is underneath your toes and push your foot down and push these toe pads down. Push them down like you mean it. Down like you mean it. You might notice as you do this that your belly tones too. So nobody can get that card from underneath your toe pads because you are pushing it down. And then release it and let it go. And let's take both feet forward and then open the feet outwards like a ballet dancer, and then bring them back in like pigeon toe, and open it up and bring it in. Inhaling and exhaling as we open and close. And let's pull the feet back in. Let's open up now into our goddess pose or horsey pose, and interlace your fingers and press your palms away. So your knees are over your middle toes. We don't want them falling out like that or in like that. Not quite now. And then let's walk one elbow up and then the other. Yeah, just get some good movement going here. Notice how you feel this movement even in your torso area and down the sides of your body. Breath is in and breath is out. Awesome. Take your arms wide. Yup. Arms are wide. Bring your right over your left. Big hug. Big hug. Yoga's a hug. It's a hug. It's a hug you're giving yourself. It's a big gift you give yourself. When you come to this class, you are, and any of the classes, you are giving yourself a gift. Open it up. And switch and switch. Big hug. Maybe you rock a little bit side to side. And we'll open up our arms and release them down. And then we're going to take our sitting bones. They're going to go back. You might take your hips back on the chair. Roll the shoulders up and back as you lean forward. Put your weight into your feet. Press your palms down. Now the spine is long rather than rounded. Feel your shoulder blades come onto your back. And then we're going to push down and rise up. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, lower your heels down. Press your palms into your thighs. Lean forward, roll the shoulders up and back. Feel your shoulder blades come together as you push your palms down. As we rise, lift your heels and then lower them down. One more time. Circle shoulders, lengthen spine. Sitting bones and hips are moving back, so it's a flat spine. The neck is extending from your heart, from your thoracic spine, your chest spine. And then inhale, lift up, heels rising. Exhale, lower them down. And then bring your feet back towards each other. Make fists with your hands. Wrap your fingers around your thumbs and circle the wrists. Circle the wrists. Sometimes people feel a little like achy when it's rainy, and it's kind of rainy today, and then circle it the other way. We've been spoiled with all this gorgeous weather. And now the plants need a little bit of watering. And now go ahead and just kind of tap your thighs around, wake them up. You might even do it to the sides of the body and the heart and go down. We're just waking up the body. Go for it. Just give it some little taps. You can open up and just kind of, these are love taps, love taps. And then we're going to open up our feet again. And if you have a block, take it. If you don't have a block, you can always use books. Or I'll show you an alternative. So what we're going to do is a little twist with our legs wide like this. So I'm going to bring my right hand down to the block. If you don't have a block, then put your forearm on the thigh. Either way is really fine. Then you're going to roll this upper shoulder, the left shoulder up and back. And then you're going to gaze towards your left and take a breath in and out. And if you might be feeling an opening through these thighs, if it's too much, walk your feet in a little bit. And then maybe you lift your arms skyward and gaze at your fingertips. Breathe in and breathe out. This is a little twist. And then exhale, bring the hand back to the hip and the other hand to your hip. And notice how the body feels. We'll go to the other side. So either your forearm's going to your thigh or your hand's going to the block. And then take both shoulders back, gazing towards your right. And I love to feel that shoulder blade come onto the back, especially the upper one. Press down through your feet. Now, if your neck is hurting you, you can look down rather than sideways. And lift the upper arm, your right arm up towards the sky. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in and breath is out. Push down to your feet, hands to your hips, and rise upwards. Okay, walk your feet back in. We're going to do windshield wiper now with our feet. So keep your right knee out this way and let your left knee come into center. And then lift your left arm skyward and get a big stretch. Yes, lift it long. Lift it long. Now we're going to go to the other side. So the left knee is outwards and the right knee is down like this. So when you lift your arm, you're feeling this long lengthening up through the sides of the body. Good. We're going to swish it a few times because it's raining out. We got to make our windshield wipers. So go this way towards your right, lifting left arm up, and then swish it back the other way. You got it. So inhaling as we lift, exhaling as we lower and turn. Lift up, lower down. One more time each way. And then when you get back to the right side, bring your feet back together and turn yourself so you're facing towards the right on your chair. We're going to go to crescent pose. So I'm holding on to the back of the chair with my right hand. And we're going to come a little bit towards the edge of the chair. So literally, if it feels safe to you, one hip is on the chair and one hip is off of the chair. And then you can always hold on to the seat, take this outside foot back, and the knee's going to go down. So I'm holding on to the chair and the left knee is downwards. Now, how about this foot? You can curl the toes under, or you can put the foot flat. Some people cramp. And if you do, it's helpful to take a towel or a blanket or a pillow, something, and put it under your foot. So let me show you that. Looks like this. Looks like this. Then notice how my ribs are going forward. So I gotta bring them back. So bring your ribs back so they're over your pelvis. Shoulders are up and back. And you might lift your arm towards the sky. Take a breath in and a breath out. Where you would be feeling the stretch is down this thigh and down the side of the body. If you don't, you can take the leg back a little bit more or curl the toes under and try to straighten the leg. That's going to depend though on your back. So if this is irritating your lower back, don't take the leg so far back. So you got to experiment here. And let's breathe one more breath. Inhale and exhale, and then step the foot forward. So the general rule for holding a pose would be 3 to 5 breaths. Some people go 5 to 10 breaths, and that's just fine. Remember, no pain, all gain. So if you're feeling discomfort, you probably need to either back off and not go so far, or come out of the pose and maybe begin again and maybe let that go for now and ask me a question later. Let's do the other side. Another adaptation, sometimes people use pillows and put or a block and put that down. So now we're going to switch ourselves so we're facing now towards the left. Nice tall spine. Take one hand to the back of the chair, your back hand of course, and then adjust your hips so that one hip is on the chair and one hip is almost off. And then you're going to take that knee down and it might rest on the block. Now, if you're really tall and have long legs, you don't need that block. But if you're, of course, it depends on the height of the chair. But let's just assume you have a traditional chair. So the knee can rest on here if that feels good for you and if the dimensions of your legs are just right for that. If not, you might rest on the blanket. You might have your toes under or top a foot down. Ribs go back. So you're feeling your ribs over your pelvis, your shoulders over your pelvis and your ribs, and your ears over your shoulders, and then you might lift your arm up. It's always might, right? There's always options here. Take a few breaths right here. Breathe in and breathe out, and make any adjustments you need. And breathe in and breathe out. One more time. Soft breath in, pull the ribs back, lift tall, and release. Let that go. Come back to center. We're going to work on some standing poses now. A lot of these poses can be done seated. So you can remain seated or you can stand. It's always an option. I love being near a wall. Love a wall. And you definitely want a stable chair. It's nice when the chair can be against the wall. Mine's not against the wall so you can see me. If I don't do a side view, you won't be able to see me very well. You'll get a different view than you really want. So we're going to start with wall dog. And you can face either the seat of your chair or the back of your chair. I think most people prefer the seat of the chair because they can put their hands down on the chair. So putting your hands down on the chair, feet are parallel. We're going to walk our feet back and bend our knees. And so take your sitting bones back as you bend your knees, and you're feeling a lengthening through the spine. And then you can straighten your legs if that feels okay to you. But if you're feeling a pull, this might be right where you need to be. Now I'm going to do a few cat-cows right here. So palms are on the chair, round the spine, and chin goes to chest. We already did these in the chair. If you are seated and you want to do it again, go for it. So chin is to chest, round spine, and then take it the other way like the cow spine. So you know how cows have that swooping spine down. That's what we're doing with our spine. Exhale, round like the cat, chin to chest, and then tailbones anchoring down, and then inhale to cow. So the neck is lifting, the head is lifting, but not too far back, because you don't want to crunch your neck, and the sitting bones are rising up. One more time. Find the cat and find the cow. And then walk your feet back towards the chair and notice how you're feeling now. So you have the chair situated so it's support for you. We're going to start with a nice side bend, and there's different variations. You could have the chair in front of you, by the way, like this. If I do that, you're not going to see me as well. So I'm going to put it to the side. Then we're going to lift one or both arms upwards, skywards. And then we're going to take a side bend towards the right. So you might have one hand on the chair and one hand lifting upwards. And we're going to take that side bend, push down through your feet, push them down into the mat, into whatever your feet are touching. And then inhale, rise up, and exhaling other way. Other way. Keep pressing the feet down, and then inhale, rise up, and exhale, hands to the heart. Take a breath in and take a breath out. We're going to move towards a lunge. We just kind of worked on lunges in the chair, so you could do that again, or you can come this way with standing. We're going to face the chair in our mountain pose. I'm going to move over here a little bit. I think you can see me fine. And so feet are facing the chair, they're parallel. Then we're going to keep the right leg forward and take the left leg back. Now, you want to go far enough that you feel a nice long stance, but if it feels too long, then of course you're going to bring your leg in. Most people go a little shorter than they think they can go, or that they can go, but you could start there, especially if this is your first practice. Facing the chair, lift your ribs over your pelvis, and you may feel a stretch in this back leg. We're going to actually bend the back leg a few times. The toes are curled under, the back toes are curled under. So bending the knee, we're facing towards the chair. So little bend, not a big far bend. You don't have to take your knee down to the ground. That would be a whole nother thing, right? Bend the knee a little bit, facing forward. One more. So we're inhaling and we're exhaling. Find your lunge. Now maybe you stay here, and I'm feeling a stretch right about there. So if you're feeling that, that's good. You're also going to feel the front thigh. It is working. So say, thank you, right thigh. And maybe you take one arm up and breathe in and out through the nose. Maybe you switch arms. Just see how it is for you. Maybe you keep both hands on the chair. Or maybe if you're feeling like you're really super balanced, you might take both arms up and just check it out. So there's a few tricks for yoga balance. We want to find a spot to stare at that's not moving while we breathe. So you're finding a spot about eye level. And now let's step the left foot to meet the right. You're going to feel your legs are working when you do that kind of pose. Because this is what it's about. This is what it's about. With these standing poses, we're waking up the legs. All right. Now we're going to do the other side. So left leg is forward and right leg goes back. Now you want to make sure that the back leg is not like you're on a balance beam, right? So this is feet together on a balance beam, and I don't think you want that. So you want to take your foot to the side and then back. And that's going to give you more space for your balance. You want to give yourself a nice, larger foundation for your balance. We're going to bend the back knee and then inhale and straighten it. and bending it and straightening it. You might hold a bend for a little bit and just feel it, and then straighten. Make sure your ribs are over your pelvis. That's going to increase the intensity of the stretch, by the way, and it's good for our posture. And then decide if you want to play with one or both hands coming off of the chair. Make sure you're breathing and you find that spot to stare at that's eye level. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in and breath is out. Take the fingertips down and step the right foot to meet the left. And notice how your body feels now. Let's go back to a wall dog. And with your hands on the chair, walk yourself back like we did before. And you can play with your feet a little wider if you want, or about hip distance. Walk it back. So start with the bent knees so you can push the hips back, then lift your ribs upward, feel your shoulder blades on your back. That's a lot right there to think about. And then maybe you straighten the legs or maybe you don't. So we want to try to not let this spine swoop down like that. We want to lift the ribs up so it doesn't, you'll feel a little toning in your belly, and you can angle your sit bones down towards your heels. And now we're going to walk back in and place your forearms on the chair, as long as your shoulders are okay with that. And with your forearms on the chair, your elbows, you're making a triangle. You can interlace your fingers like that. And the forearms are pushing down like this. And then we're going to rock forward and back a little bit. So there's some weight bearing, a little bit of weight bearing as you rock forward and back. So this is basically the same pose, but we've got our forearms down. So we're strengthening our shoulders in a little bit different way. Rocking forward and back. So you're rocking your head toward your thumbs and then take it back. Your knees can be soft or bent. And one more. And then come on down. Put your hands on the chair. We're going to walk back and we're going to do plank in the chair. Now, I do suggest, first of all, you want to make sure you got a chair that's not going to move. It's very helpful to put the chair, or I should say safer, to put that chair against the wall, because then you know it's not going to move. I'm not going to show it that way because then you're going to see my butt. And you don't need to see that. So, here's the way it looks. But imagine the chair is against the wall. Hands are on the chair. I'm going to walk back, and then I am in a version of plank facing the chair. And then I'm going to bend my knees and push back towards the wall dog. And then come on forward. We're back to plank. Walk the plank. Let's do that a few more times. So you go back to the wall dog. Now you get to adjust how far you go forward. You don't want to be a banana like that. We're not looking for that. We're looking for shoulder blades on the back. Forwards. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, I'm just going to tell you this for those of you who are seated. You could face a wall in the chair and place your hands on the wall. It looks like this, and do kind of a version of it. And so you're leaning forward, and you can use the wall as some resistance. You can even do some push-ups there. So if you're seated, that's a good thing to do, but you probably need a wall in front of you for that. You do need a wall in front of you for that. Or something you can put your hands on. All right, so coming back to standing, and we're going to do a sun salute together, because even though it's raining, we want to salute the sun, and maybe it'll return to us. So inhale and take your arms up overhead, and then exhale, hands to your hips. And know that you can always sit for this as well. Shoulder blades come together as the elbows gently come together. And then we're going to go about 1/3 of the way down. Feel our shoulder blades on the back, knees may be bending. And then press down through your feet, rise up again. Inhale, arms up overhead and hands at the heart. Now you can keep one hand on the chair when you do this. And you could face the chair, knowing the chair is there for you, but it's hard to come forward because you don't want to go over the chair, right? But you could go partially down. So now we're going to go a little bit further down. But you want to keep a long back. So here's the side view. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to the hips. Lean forward, draw the shoulder blades on the back and gaze forward and down. Then we're going to push down through our feet. Inhale, rise up, arms up overhead, and hands to heart. And notice how that feels. And that's kind of like a half sun salute. Now, we're going to work down towards the earth. So I will give adaptations. The first thing we're going to do is go into table pose when we get down to the earth, and then spinal balance. So you might want a blanket underneath your knees when you come on down. If you're not coming down, I will show you a version for in the chair. Those of you going down, be safe going down. Let me show spinal balance in the chair before I go down. So we're facing forward. And for spinal balance in the chair, you can take your right leg forward and maybe up, and your left arm out to the side. Now, the leg can be down or up, or you might rest the leg on a block or something in front of you that gives you a little height, like a few books. And so this is spinal balance in the chair, and you're going to want to do it both sides. Now I'm going to go down to the earth and show that version. Moving. So to come on down, this is how I like to come down, is to place the blanket and knowing that'll be cushioned for the knees, and then facing the chair, lower one knee down and then the other. Now I'm going to move this chair out of the way and I'll be right back. So here we are for table pose. So knees are under hips and palms are forward, and they are just about underneath the shoulders. We want a nice long table. And just to make sure you've got shoulder blades on the back, you might do a cat pose and then a cow pose so you can feel your shoulder blades on the back, and then pull your bellies in and up. We're going to extend the right leg back. Now you can keep your toes down or you can lift the leg up. So toes are down. We want our hip to be level. Our hips are level. So this would be not level, right? Like that hip's creeping up. So with the toes down, think about the side of your hip going downward so that 2 hip points are pointing down towards the earth. Then the left fingertips go forward and maybe up. So this is spinal balance. You could have any combination though. You could have fingertips down and leg up. You could have toes down and arm up, or you could have fingertips down and toes down. And this, you're gazing forward about a foot in front of you. And from there, take a breath in and a breath out. Breathe in and breathe out. And then come back to neutral and take a little break. Now, a break could mean a child pose where the toes come together and the knees are apart, or the knees could be together and you take your hips kind of backwards. Now, if you want to do a child pose in the chair, I suggest using 2 chairs. I'll show you what I mean so you can see. And you guys down on the earth doing your child pose can rock your hips a little bit. You can come forward and back. But this is what child pose looks like with 2 chairs. The knees are apart And then you can rest right here. So this is a nice place to stretch out the spine. Some people put like a blanket or a pillow here, and you're still getting a nice hip opening. There's always a way to adapt these poses. So now let's come back up and do spinal balance on the other side. Spinal balance on the other side. So now we're going to take our left leg back. And the toes are curling down, the heel is pushing away. And you might rock forward and back a little bit. That feels really nice. Good stretch on the back of the calf. And then fingertips come forward on the right side. And maybe you lift the leg, maybe you lift the arm. It's always your choice. Try not to lock the elbow on the foundational arm, the hand that's down. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in and breath is out. You can always come back down, take a break, and maybe go back into it and do each side again. From here, we're going to do something a little more challenging. So I'm going to show it in the chair too, but since I'm down here, that's first. Right leg's back, left arm is forward. You might bring your knee in towards your chest or bring your elbow towards your knee and your chest. So it looks like this. Knee is to elbow, elbow is to knee. Lengthening and then curling in like the cat and then extending long. Pull it in like the cat and then extend long. Do that a few times, take a break. You might just do your knee and not your hand. So it would just be bringing knee in like that. Let me show you what it would look like in the chair. So you could lift one knee and bring the elbow to the knee. So it would look like this, like that, like that. And then you could also alternate and do each sides. Always a way to do what we're doing on the earth in the chair. Okay. So if you didn't switch sides already, go ahead and switch sides. So now left leg is back and right arm is coming together. This is definitely a balance challenge. There's no question about that this is a balance challenge. So now the left leg is back, the right arm is forward, pull it in, and then extend it away. Pull it in and extend. Breathe in and breathe out. This is working your core. This is working your arm strength. So many things are going on here. And then place it down and let's take another child pose. We're going to turn that into a crescent. So it's a side bend. I'm going to show you it forward. I think that might be a nice way for you to see it. So knees are apart, spine goes forward, and then I'm going to walk my arms towards one way and the hips are going to go to the other way. And once you're here, tack your hips back, and you're going to feel a nice lengthening through the sides of the body. And then walk your arms the other way when you're ready. You might want to stay longer than I'm staying, and that's perfect. You should do that. When you're ready, you'll go to the other side. So if you're in the chair, you could do a nice side bend. Breathing in and breathing out. And then coming back to center. And we are going to go onto our belly for Shalabhasana. Now, if you're in the chair, you can do something like this. It's a little bit of a back bend while you're seated in the chair. This is how it's going to look on the earth. Now, if you know that you get lower back pain, you could put a blanket so it's underneath your rib cage and your pelvis, and that can help a lot. So this is the way it'll look if you're using that. Not everybody needs it. So we're gonna start with our belly down, and you can let your legs be straight out from your hips. So maybe pick up the right leg and stretch it back, and then pick up the left leg and stretch it back. And take a few breaths in and out. And you'll feel your belly press against the earth as you breathe in and out. And then we're going to take our arms wide like a V. And then we might lift our arms up. Now you could also bend your elbows. That might be more accessible. So see which way is better for you. You could make like a V with elbows slightly bent, and you might lift your legs and pull them towards each other. We're toning our hips. We're flying like Superman. It's a little bit of a back bend. And then take a little break and lower down. Breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And then we're going to go back into the V. And lift the legs. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. Tone your legs. Breathe in. And breathe out. And exhale, release down. And then we are going to roll onto our side for a thigh stretch. And we actually did that already in the chair. So if you want, you could do it again. But this is how it looks on the earth. You can either be on your belly or your side. I find a lot of people want on the side, so I'm going to demo it that way. So you can come on and rest your head on your bent elbow, or maybe a little blanket might be there as well. And then you're going to pull your top knee in towards you and then swing it back to get a thigh stretch. The bottom knee is bent. That's going to help your balance, especially if you're on your side. So we're drawing a line from our hip up from our shoulders and top of the head. And then as you press your hand into your foot, you're pushing your foot into your hand, and you'll get a little bit of a stretch right in front of the thigh. Now, if you get cramps, come out of it, maybe give yourself a little love tap. Take a break, give it a little massage, and then maybe go again, or just go to the other side. So the knee is not up like that. The knee is more level with your hip as you press back. This can also be done on your belly. It looks like this. Something like this. Some people like their head down, and some people make a little back bend out of it. And some people use a tie on their foot to pull it in. This is a really good stretch because we sit so much, this area gets tight. And then we'll do the other side when you're ready, if you haven't already gone to your other side. So, resting on your elbow, your bent elbow, take the top knee in towards you, hold your ankle and swing it on back. Swing it on back, and you're going to get a stretch right here. And so you can press your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot, elbows bent. Take a few breaths. Notice the thigh stretch. This is a really important stretch. It's really important given how much we sit. Breathing in and breathing out. And then when you're done, you're going to roll onto your back and Hopefully you have a time, and if you don't, I'll show you how. And then those of you in the chair, I will show you how you do your leg stretch in the chair. So get yourself on your backs with your tie, if you're on the floor. And this is how it looks in the chair. You're taking a strap around your foot and pressing the heel away. Now, it's really nice to rest this foot on a sofa or a chair in front of you to get the stretch. All right, so on the earth, you're going to take the strap, you're going to bend your knees and maybe rock your pelvis forward and back a few times, and then find that midway point. So now if you need a little something under your head, you can take it. I got a block in my head. Blockhead. So here we are in a bridge prep pose, and then you can do a few little pelvic tilts and find the midline. And place the strap around the foot and press the foot skyward. Now, if you don't have a strap, you can have your hands behind your thigh and you're pushing your thigh into your hands. Your leg may not straighten, and that is perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Leg straightening is not the requirement here. Breathe in. And breathe out as you stretch. I like to stay in this one at least 30 seconds. At least 30 seconds. Now, notice the other knee is bent. If you're super Gumby and really stretchy, then you can straighten that bottom leg and push out through the heels. Now, you want your lower back to have a little curve, but you don't want your ribs coming up. You want to press them down. So strap or hands behind. Strap in hand or hands behind thigh. And then we're going to take the leg out to the side and get a stretch on the inside of the leg and stay there for about 30 seconds. Now, if your other hip starts to come up, then tack it down so it doesn't come up like that. And then inhale, bring the leg back up and lower it down. And just feel how that side feels on your body. How does that leg feel? I'm switching sides. You don't have to, just so you can see. And so same thing. Might do a few pelvic tilts in between. So you're either going to put the strap around your foot or hands behind thigh. Relax the shoulders down. They're not part of your leg stretch, but a lot of people stress out their shoulders and they're lifted like that. So see if you can relax them down. Take about 30 seconds to stretch right here. This stretch is so important. The one we just did in front of the thigh and the one in the back of the thigh, so important for back health. And then maybe you take the leg out to the side, again, keeping hips level. Pushing out through the heel. Yeah, you're gonna feel it in that inner thigh for sure. Take some nice full complete breaths. We're not pushing or pulling the breath, it's a soft breath. And imagine that you're lengthening the muscle fibers in your leg. And when you're ready, you'll bring your foot back up, lower down. Now, we're gonna do windshield wiper before our final pose. Windshield wiper, I always like to do windshield wiper, but it is really nice for all kinds of things in our body. So we're gonna let our knees drop one way. So I'm letting my left knee and my right drop towards the left. And then I'm gonna take my right arm and lengthen it back behind me. And this is gonna bring a whole kind of stretch from the right side of the body down towards the thigh. And you can adjust it. If it's too much, then bend your elbow or bring your arm down. And you're lengthening out through your leg here. It's a really, really nice stretch. You might feel it around here too, on the top of your hip and along the side of your body. And then, since it's a windshield wiper, we're going to switch sides. So you might shift your hips a little bit to the side. As you let your knees go to the right, the hips might go to the left a little. And then we're letting the knees relax down and stretching now the left arm long behind. And notice that the ribs come up. Try to push them down. That's going to increase the intensity of the stretch as well. Take a few breaths. Enjoy the stretch. And then when you're ready, you're going to find your final pose. Now, this pose is super important. A lot of people like to skip it, but it's really important to let the body recalibrate and absorb all the work you did, the strengthening, the stretching, the balancing. So to find the final resting pose, traditional is legs long and arms down by your side in a relaxed position. A lot of people like to put a bolster underneath their knees, and that looks like, I'm going to show you. And that can be really nice for the back. Now, if you have the ability to put your legs up the wall, if you're either in bed or up on a chair, that's really a nice thing to do too. And so we're in our restorative pose for relaxation. And we'll just take a few minutes to be right here. But even though we're taking a few minutes, you could take longer since you're home. I like to make sure the shoulders are underneath me so you can kind of walk your shoulders towards each other. Palms are facing up, although some people like to put their hands on their belly, and that's just fine. Feet are just kind of flopping open. And the idea of this pose is we're not trying to change anything. We're breathing in stillness, focusing on the breath as we breathe in and breathe out. Noticing the parts of the body that are touching as you relax. Now you could be relaxing in your chair as well. Notice which parts of your body are either touching the chair or the earth. Soft breath in and soft breath out. Feel the body relaxing in space. Feel this body as it breathes in and breathes out. Relaxing your feet and your legs, hips, spine, internal organs, relaxing shoulders, arms, hands, and head. Relaxing the upper and lower jaws, relaxing your eyes, feeling the skin relaxed on your face, your forehead, your cheeks. Feel the whole body relaxing. You feel free to stay in this position as long as comfortable for you. I'll close out our session together by rolling to the side in a fetal position and rising back up. And at the end of a yoga practice, we bring our palms together in front of our heart, bowing in with gratitude for our time together, for our bodies our breath, our big hearts. Namaste, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.